Kia ora koutou, nau mai, haere mai, hello and welcome to Flourishing Through Positive Education. I'm Natalie Calder, the founder of Being Education Learning to Flourish and the author of the Classroom Connections project. Today we delve into the transformative power of belonging for educators. Thanks for joining me. Educators, you are the architects of change, standing against rising rates of depression and anxiety amongst our youth. My goal is to equip you with scientifically proven wellbeing techniques for your classroom. Today, we focus on belonging and inclusion as a crucial element of building a brighter, kinder future. Recently, we've been looking at starting our new year with a real flourish, and we're going to continue this today as we deep dive into a topic that lays the foundation for success in our classroom, the power of belonging. I'm really excited to explore the importance of developing a sense of belonging, how it impacts our students, and to give you practical strategies to create an inclusive and supportive learning environment. Now, I think you're all probably really aware that at the heart of a thriving classroom is a really strong sense of belonging. Numerous research from psychologists such as Allen in 2018, Goodenow and Grady in 1993, and Haggerty in 1992 all showed evidence that these social relationships, academic achievement, success and well-being is really comes down to how well we feel we belong in the environment that we're in. So as we commence the school year, understanding and fostering belonging becomes a key to unlocking a successful and enriching academic journey. You know, one of my favourite authors and researchers is Brené Brown. You may know of her as the author who wrote Daring Greatly. And only this morning I was just listening to her on a podcast, and she said, "Without love and belonging, there is only suffering." And I just thought that was a really great quote and really gives us an insight into just how important this topic is. So I just wanted to share that with you now. It's also, this idea is also reiterated by Dr. Mithray Gopalan's research. She shed light on the concept of belonging uncertainty. So belonging uncertainty is a term which was introduced by social psychologists Jeffrey Cohen and Gregory Walton, who worked at Stanford University. So it says that belonging uncertainty often surfaces during transitional periods, so times of entering a new school or an academic environment. Dr. Bakalan's work emphasised how belonging uncertainty can influence students' interpretation of their daily adversities and potentially leading to disengagement and poor academic outcomes. So it's saying that, even the things that might sort of normally be a little bit unusual or slight adversities are seen as a lot worse when we don't feel that we have a sense of belonging. So our role as educators, particularly when you've got a whole new class or even if your children are coming from a new school, is really crucial in alleviating this uncertainty and creating a secure environment for our students. For children and young people, developing a sense of belonging is more than just a classroom necessity. It's actually a fundamental building block for self-confidence and identity. They deserve safe spaces and ample time to explore and establish their identities without having constraints of norms or which are put upon them. So acceptance of who they are without fitting into these norms is paramount. A really strong sense of belonging empowers them to relate to others, to the world around them, and it fosters respect and manaakitanga. The impact of a sense of belonging extends really to our mental health. When students feel secure in their identity and connected to their roots, such as their whakapapa or tūranga waiwai, it really reduces the anxiety, depression, feelings of helplessness that they may get at times. And in an era where challenges are on the rise for our youth mental health, fostering belonging is an essential aspect of our educational mission, something that we can really do something to support our children. We can really give them that sense of belonging in a place and therefore being accepted for who they are and their ideas and opinions listened to. So here in New Zealand, school attendance is a requirement by law. Children have to go to school. But to really engage children, you really need the students' buy-in. So a really good education relies on their willingness to invest their personal time, their attention, and their involvement. They can be in a classroom, but doesn't mean that they're involved, doesn't mean that they are paying attention, and it ultimately doesn't mean they're learning. So without these, disengagement prevails. It hinders the potential for a meaningful school day. And if this continues, a meaningful school month, a meaningful school term, a meaningful school year as it goes on. So as educators, our commitment is creating a positive environment and fostering that sense of belonging, which directly impacts students' security, willingness to express themselves, and therefore their future mental health. So I've just put together a few activities today that I thought that would be really useful, that I thought you might like to try as you get to know your class over the next little while and as they get to know you. The first one, and you may have tried this before, is called circle time. This takes a little bit to set up, but it's an amazing tool for you to use in classroom discussions and just getting opinions and ideas from children, and really useful as well if there's any sort of disagreements or any topics that the class need to sort of work through together. So in circle time, you will set up your own sort of class rules, but what that entails is the sort of fundamental building blocks are that, you know, everybody is listened to, only one child is talking at a time. A lot of people do have some sort of talking stick or something like that, so it is your turn to speak when you have the stick or the ball or whatever it may be. So it's a really cool opportunity to give everyone a go at saying their opinion, but it also really explicitly teaches children the art of turn taking, of listening to the opinions of others, and also gives them that opportunity to feel valued as part of the group and feeling as though they are being listened to. So that's a really cool activity. That is something, like I said before, you can set up at the start of the year. Takes a little bit of time, but then you'll find you may use that even weekly or as you need to. So do look into that further. If you look that up in Google or whatever browser you use, you will find out see lots of examples of circle time being used in classrooms. Okay, the second little activity is actually something that we sort of looked at last week. Last week we looked at creating a positive emotions Y chart. So what does the positive classroom look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And again, that same activity this week you can use to sort of bring in that sense of belonging. What does it look like when we're all including each other and making sure everyone feels safe? What does it sound like when we're doing that? What does it feel like? And you can really use that information to start really putting out some sort of ground rules for your classroom, talking about how we do treat each other, the sorts of things we would like to see, the sorts of things we would all like to hear, and then also how do we want to feel when we're here at school. So that can be really powerful. And the next activity is creating the class treaty, and doing that Y chart first is a really sort of positive way to lead into making a class treaty. Really focus on the positives. I think it's important to say this is what we do see, not we won't do this in our classroom, but it just gives, by already having gone through those ideas and already talked about what a positive environment looks like, you can really unpack how we would like each other to be treated, or how the class want to feel and to be treated. So some of the ideas that you might, depending on age, you might break some of those up to, what do the class jobs look like? How does that work? What does leadership in this classroom look like? How do we look at that? Digital technology, or when we're doing maths, or our resources. So you can break them up into all the different aspects depending on the age of your children, and really explicitly sort of focus in on each one. What does it look like to feel a sense of belonging? How do we show respect for the things and the people that are in our classroom? So I'd really like to give those a go. I have just recently done those in my new classroom, and I was really surprised by how engaged the children were, and I think even just giving them that chance to have their say and to feel listened to already sort of gave them that sense of belonging and a sense of place within our new classroom. So that's really cool. The last thing I just wanted to talk about briefly, and I think a lot of us are really good at this already, but just being really open to feedback from the children as to your teaching style. Sometimes we can get a little bit, or perhaps our egos might get a little bit in the way here, where we're just not really wanting to get feedback, or a bit insecure about what children might say. But I think it's really, really important that as new children come into our classroom, and we do our very best to respond to their styles of learning and to get to know them, that we kind of take on board a little bit of their feedback. What are the things that I do that work for you? How, and I'm not saying you're going to change your complete style of teaching, but I'm just saying that it's really nice for the children to see that you are prepared to, understand that they like it when you teach in this sort of way. So let's try and do that a little bit more, or we feel a little bit uncomfortable when you do this, or we like when you talk like this, or those sorts of things. I think just being open to their feedback, giving them opportunities to share their feedback with you, and then I'm not, like I said, not saying completely change your teaching style at all, but just take some of that on board, and that will also really help the children to feel as though they have a say, and that the way they learn and the way they would like to be spoken to, and the things that they feel are important to you also. So good luck with that. I'd love to hear how you go. I would love to, if you'd like to give me send a comment or an email, either on Facebook or through my emails, which is on my website. It'd be great to hear how you go. As we wrap up our exploration of belonging, let's really commit to making this school year a journey of inclusivity, support and growth. Together we have the power to create classrooms where every student feels that they belong, where their ideas matter, and where their academic journey is not just about learning, but about thriving. So thank you for being champions of wellbeing for the children in your care. Flourishing through positive education really is an ongoing journey, and I encourage you to continue exploring, learning, and implementing these strategies in your classroom. If you haven't already, please head along to my website, www.beingeducation.co.nz. Download 6 simple steps to classroom wellbeing. It's free there for you to download. It does have some really good ideas, lesson plans and things for you to use in your classroom. And again, if you don't already follow me, I'd love to see you follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I have lots more ideas on how to foster that sense of belonging in your classroom. All right, thank you. So until next time, let's continue building a future where every child realises their unlimited potential. Take care and ka kite.